salvation. When that happens, we must know that things need to change. And so, Democrats, that is why we are here today. We are saying no elderly person should live in fear in our rural communities, afraid of being raped and killed because law enforcement is under-resourced. It is a crime that millions of South Africans are drowning in a cost of living crisis while this government watches on. They are not moved by your pain, ngoba lo mbutho we-ANC ugcwele ohlohle sabo. Basikhohlakalele ngoba bacinga bana they will govern until Jesus comes. But I have news for them, Democrats. I have news for them, Dizoti Kubo. Ixesha lifikile. Sizoti Kubo, sizoli kupa. Millions of people are uniting behind the DA and will be voting on election day. Sizokupa ezizikhohlakali from office. South Africa DA leaders will unveil to you our plan today. Our plan to make sure that we rescue people from poverty, that we get young people into jobs, that we keep our communities safe, and that we ensure that we are phela lo cimicimi ubulala imisebenzi. Phansi ngocimicimi, phansi. But Democrats, that plan can only be brought to life by you. We cannot bring the plan to life if you don't join us. It can be only implemented if you lend us your vote for the next 5 years. Isithembiso sethu sinye sithi thina imali yoluntu izakuya ezinkonzweni zabantu. This mission can only take off if we put our hands together with the people of South Africa so that we can rescue our country, because it is our future on the line. It can only work, South Africa, with your support and your endorsement, because ultimately this is your rescue mission. Viva DA, viva! Viva DA, viva! Democrats, sekusele kancane. Sithi nca umuntu wegroundini nca. Sithi nca umuntu wegroundini sithi nca. And now let us stand together and sing the national anthem.
Nkosi sikeleli Afrika, maluphakanyisa uphondo lwayo, izwa imithandazo yethu. Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo. Usibuluke sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our
And now, Democrats, please join me in welcoming to the stage a man okhokela Democratic Alliance apho eGauteng, umfo walapha ePitoli, umfo wase-Atteridgeville, umntana kaMsimanga man, our Gauteng candidate, uSalim Simanga.
Halala Democrats, halala! Halala Democrats, halala! Welcome to Gauteng. Ke batla le botsisa hape man. Le teng mona. Are you here? Halala Democrats, halala! Welcome to the province that will soon be rescued. A province that will soon be a blue province where we can then make things to happen here. A province that will soon become the beacon of hope yet again. We want to welcome you to a province that when it sneezes, South Africa will catch a flu. Welcome also to the union buildings. This is where in 1994, Ndate Nelson Mandela stood and said, let there be bread for everybody. Where he stood and said, let there be a dignity of life. But little did he know that a number of years later, that dream that he had was going to be turned into a big nightmare. And we need to rescue South Africa. You know, I'm not going to call that other party by name. And I've said to all of you, and I've said to the Democratic Alliance, let's stop calling their name because they must be irrelevant to all of us from now on and going forward. We need to make sure that the only thing that reigns in people's heads is the name Democratic Alliance. Most importantly, today, as we stand here, we are gathered to say we want to welcome everybody to a future of South Africa. We want to turn the nightmare that we've just experienced in the last 20 plus years into a new era of prosperity going forward. A future where there will be jobs, a future where every person will walk with dignity, with safety, a future where all of us will belong, not only those that Panyaza Lisufi want to hold back so that they don't vote for somebody else and promise them jobs. We want a future where your skin color is not going to determine the prosperity that you will get in South Africa. I want to welcome Democrats from all provinces, from Mpumalanga, from KZN, from Western Cape, Eastern Cape, Sitimolweni, abantu base Limpopo, Shaweta Nangwina, abantu base Northern Cape, Uleket Masekeners, abantu base Free State, Kirdumelam Barabesuka Ofela. And here in Gauteng, I want to then say, come here to where the future, a bright future is starting. I am fighting to win Gauteng because I know that this can be a magnificent province that is worth rescuing. I believe that South Africa is worth rescuing. To everybody watching at home, you are watching the DA assemble in Pretoria in our thousands. And today, we are coming to you with a very, very big statement of intent. We as a Democratic Alliance declare our intent here today. This is the biggest march in the history of the party. And a sea of blue is moving through the capital city to the union buildings in a big statement of intent. This is the next door where we are saying to the president, Ntate Cyril Ramaphosa, we are ready to come take over here. We are ready to come take over Panyagali Sufi. We want you out because you failed the people. We believe that this historic mission to rescue South Africa and to rescue the people of Gauteng is indeed for you, the people of South Africa, the beautiful people of our province and the beautiful people of our different municipalities. Today, the Democratic Alliance will launch our plan to turn this country around. The moment has never been profound. This time has never been better. The odds of change have never been more in our favor, and we want to say we are ready. With this plan today, we will take every South African on board to be part of the rescue mission to save South Africa. The rescue mission needs each and every one of us to make sure that we play our part. Every South African who believes in the rescue mission, hear our plan today. We welcome you. We want to work with you. We want to save South Africa together. And I want you to remember that the power of one, every election can be won or lost by one vote. Tsamaya ulo butisa mabhokobhoko. Tsamaya ulo butisa ba fitileng pele ba ba kgonneng win a World Cup by only one goal, and we can do it by only bringing one additional person. Be part of that history to rescue our beautiful country with this plan. Please don't let others decide your fate. Don't let anyone else choose your future. Your future can be better when we work together to rescue South Africa. Be the one. Together, we will rescue South Africa and we will rescue Gauteng. Hala, hala, Democratic Alliance, hala, hala. Bambili, Democratic Alliance, bambili. Yalabu.
Viva Democrats, viva! Viva! Viva DA, viva!
Viva!
Siangena Union Building, Siangena!
Siangena!
Democrats, we are almost ready to call our federal chairperson to the stage. However, while we do, the DA leadership is now making its way to the stage so that they can be able to join us on the stage soon. But now, please help me welcome a son of the Veskap, usihlalo wombutho wethu, umphathiswa wezolimo eWestern Cape, our federal chairperson, Dr. Ivan Bear.
Good afternoon, Democrats. In 2024, South Africa will be making history. The emergence of a new government is not merely a future possibility. It is now a reality and within our reach. We are now in a clear position.
Support for the ANC is set to drop below 50%. It is a party of the past, a party in terminal decline, being ripped to shreds from all sides. The truth is that the ANC was already on its knees before Jacob Zuma's MK party entered the fray. And as we speak here today, MK is devouring millions of ANC votes. And the ANC only has one man to blame for its demise, and that man is Cyril Ramaphosa. Because for decades, he did everything in his power to enable and protect Zuma. Ramaphosa even freed 15,000 criminals just to keep Zuma out of jail. But today, that very same Zuma is helping to evict Ramaphosa from the union buildings behind me. The demise of the ANC has now volleyed the gate for the DA to achieve what was once considered unthinkable, to be able to be a party of national government. In this election, for the first time ever, the DA has a clear path to victory. Now, many of you were at our Federal Congress in April last year when I first announced the DA's commitment to the formation of a moonshot pact to rescue South Africa. Do you remember that at Congress? We were excited about the future because by bringing an end to opposition infighting and consolidating like-minded parties into a cohesive bloc, this formation, which is now known as the Multi-Party Charter for South Africa, offers South African voters the best prospect for political change since 1994. And the DA feels a profound sense of responsibility towards the Charter. Given our size, given our proud track record of clean and accountable government, and our success in delivering services and jobs where we govern, the DA is now committed to becoming the strong, stable anchor party at the heart of a new multi-party government to rescue South Africa from the ANC and build a new future. But in the DA, we don't just seek power for power's sake. For the DA, winning elections and entering government is the means to an ultimate end. And that ultimate end is to serve all of the people of South Africa by making their lives better. And that is why I am proud today to launch the DA's rescue plan for South Africa, our manifesto for the historic 2024 election. And this manifesto is the outcome of the most comprehensive policy-making process in the history of our party. It's built upon a raft of updated policies that we all adopted as a party since 2019. And in this election, a vote for the DA is a vote for a party with a clear plan to rescue South Africa. As the anchor tenant in a new multi-party government, the DA's key priorities during the 2024 to 2029 term will be to, 1, create 2 million new jobs for South Africans. 2, to end load shedding in South Africa and end water shedding. Number 3, halve the rate of violent crime, including murder, attempted murder, and gender-based violence. 4, crush corruption by abolishing cadre deployment in favor of merit-based appointments and a capable state that delivers for all South Africans. 5, lift 6 million South Africans out of poverty. 6, triple the number of grade 4 learners who can read for meaning. And finally, 7, ensuring quality health care for all South Africans. Those are 7 great things. Now, unlike most other parties who are going to come and promise you the sun, the moon, and the stars, the DA's rescue plan is not pie in the sky. Because it's easy for parties to come and stand before you that have no track record in government to get up and read out a list of impossible promises that they could never implement and never fund. But you know what? South Africans are tired of empty promises. They are tired of hearing about bullet trains when the trains that they used to take to work no longer run. They are tired about industrialization plans when the factories that they used to work in have closed due to load shedding. They are tired of hearing about smart cities when they don't feel safe on the streets of their own cities where they live. So what the DA offers you today are not populist promises, but solemn pledges. We will focus our time in government like a laser beam on implementing these key 7 pledges, because we understand that if you don't fix these key 7 pledges, South Africa does not have a future. So unlike the President's desperate efforts to whitewash his government's failures, the DA's manifesto is rooted in the reality of what South Africa is in 2024, not what it promised to be in 1994. In 1994, our South African dream was for a country where the lives of this generation would be better than the lives of their parents, and that their children's lives would be even better still. But in 2024, the nightmare that confronts us is that the lives of our children could be much, much worse than our own. Because the ANC has so utterly betrayed our nation that we are now further away from fulfilling the dream of 1994 than at any other time in our democratic history. On Thursday, Ramaphosa used a handful of successful young people to try and defend his claim that South Africa is some kind of heaven on earth for Tinswalo in South Africa and her peers born after 1994. Now, don't get me wrong. I salute each and every one of those young people for helping to build South Africa. But the cold, hard truth is that young people in this country do not succeed because of the ANC. They succeed in spite of the ANC. So, if Ramaphosa wanted to honestly reflect on the lives of our young people in South Africa, then for every 3 employed people, he would show us the 7 who have never had a job in their lives. If he was not trying to deceive us, he would admit that every 5 young people that finish matric, there are 5 others who failed or never even made it to matric. If he was honest about crime in this country, he would acknowledge that under his watch, the dead bodies of people murdered would fill the FNB stadium twice over. Pansy ANC, pansy. After all of the damage and destruction wrought during the 15 wasted years under Zuma and Ramaphosa, the 2024 election is sadly not yet about fulfilling our dream of 1994. This election is about survival, the survival of our South African dream. It's also a shame that the ANC only chose to focus on Tinswalo. No matter what your age, no matter what your name is, no matter where you come from, I want to say to you that over the past 30 years, we have all grown up as democracy's children. But we should not be too surprised that the President excluded from his speech Auntie Fatima from Eldorado Park, Farmer Johan from Citrusdal, and Kishav, the entrepreneur from Chatsworth. After all, this is the same man who deliberately excluded Dricus du Plessis from his recognition as our country's first ever mixed martial arts champion, purely because he refuses to keep quiet about the ANC's corruption. Driekus, the DA salutes your courage, inside and outside the octagon. Just like we salute Bafana Bafana, the Springboks, our under-19 cricketers, and Sibanati Nonshinga, who yesterday won the World Boxing Junior Flyweight title. We salute all of you. En wanneer ons binnekort is in regering, gaan ons vir jou en al ons sporthelde die erkenning gee wat jou toekom. Want die ANC weet nie wat ons weet nie. My fellow South Africans, the only way to keep our South African dream alive is by creating millions of more jobs, including for our young people. The only way to keep our dream alive is by ending load shedding and water shedding, and by winning the war on crime. The only way to keep our dream alive is by abolishing the evil and corrupt system of cadre deployment, which locks qualified people out of jobs and destroys service delivery. The only way to keep our dream alive is by lifting millions of people out of desperate poverty in which they still language, to create schools that teach our children, and to build hospitals that heal the sick. And the DA is the only party with a proven track record and ability to deliver on these pledges. Where we govern in the Western Cape, 8 out of 10 people are employed, and we create more jobs there than any other province. Where we govern in places like Cape Town, we are already reducing load shedding while providing the cleanest drinking water and the best sanitation services in the entire country. Recently, the DA rolled out a groundbreaking new initiative that enables any household with solar panels and a bidirectional meter to become not a consumer, but a prosumer by being able to sell electricity back into the grid. And it's this same policy that sits at the heart of our Manifesto's solution to load shedding for the whole of South Africa. We won't just do it in Cape Town when we're in the union buildings, we'll do it in every town and city across the country. And mark my words today, that the DA's work in Cape Town and the Western Cape is going to lead an energy revolution in this country, and it will be thanks to the implementation of DA policies. Where we govern, Democrats, we've also enhanced local policing through the LEAP program that has reduced violent crime by up to 40% in the most dangerous neighborhoods in the country. And even before we've entered national government, the DA is already abolishing cadre deployment. Whether Cyril Ramaphosa and Gwede Mantashe like it or not. And today, I have some breaking news to share with you. So listen properly. I've got some great news. And you heard it here first. As you all know, the Constitutional Court has given the ANC until Monday to hand over their skellum cadre deployment records, dating back to the 1st of January, when Ramaphosa became the chairman. Now, after delaying it for more than 3 years following the DA's initial request for these records to be made public so that we can expose Ramaphosa's role in state capture, the ANC yesterday came crawling back to the DA, and they said, please, we need more time. Should we give them more time? Should we give them more time?
No!
I agree with you. So I'm going to go right back to them and say to them directly, no, you cannot have more time. You cannot have more time in government, and you cannot have more time to hand over these records. You've wasted South Africa's time for long enough. And we're going to say to them, you will comply with the Constitutional Court ruling, or we will make sure that all of you go to jail for the contempt of court, because that's where they belong, not in the union buildings, they belong in jail. And we will use the precedent created that sent Zuma back to court and to jail, which includes prison time, to prove it. The ANC is so desperate to hide their cadre deployment secrets that they are now threatening to trigger a constitutional crisis to protect Ramaphosa, just like they did with Zuma. So the DA doesn't just talk about fighting corruption and building a capable state. Despite not even being in government yet, the DA is already doing more to rescue the state from total collapse than any other party in this country. My fellow South Africans, built upon our track record, the DA's rescue plan for South Africa will shine a bright light into an array of incredible spotlight into the darkness that threatens to blind us as a country. Now, let me be honest. It's not going to solve all of our problems overnight, because our problems in South Africa are many. But what these 7 key pledges will do is restore our country back onto the path of promise and give us the permission to once again believe in our great South African dream. So, instead of a government that tells you that it's not the end of the world when load shedding makes you unemployed or destroys your business, you can vote for a new government that ends load shedding. Instead of a government with a cowardly leader who's probably busy shredding the rule of law alongside the cadre deployment secrets as we speak, you can vote for a new government with a zero tolerance for corruption. Instead of a government that normalizes gender-based violence, gang violence, and farm murders, you can vote for a government that respects and values our women, our children, that fights gangsterism, and which protects our farmers. As I speak to you today from the seat of national government, I can say unequivocally, the DA is ready to take our rightful place in the union buildings. And make no mistake about this, the ANC knows it too. This past week in Parliament, they told us that the moonshot is their biggest fear. They were so obsessed by the moonshot that some of them were shouting, "Dubula Inyanga." And let me tell you, Dubula Inyanga, that's exactly what we're going to do in this election, Dubula Inyanga. Because we've got the size, we've got the people, we've got the experience, we've got the track record, and we have the plan to rescue this beautiful country before it's too late. And these aren't empty words. They're not empty words. The DA is present in every town, in every village, and every city across this country. And we are led by the strongest leadership collective in our party's history. And I'd now like to invite onto the stage our federal leadership. Let's give them a round of applause. Our premier candidates, our provincial leaders, our deputy leaders and chairpersons, and members of our federal executive. Let's give them a round of applause. And so I say to Tinswalo, I say to Fatima, I say to Johan, and I say to Keshav, I say to all of you, help is on the way. If you want the DA's rescue plan to sit at the heart of a new multi-party government, then you must vote for the DA to carry this plan into that government. If you want to rescue South Africa from unemployment, from load shedding and water shedding, and from crime, corruption and poverty and hunger, and from failing schools and from broken hospitals, then you must vote for the DA. If you want to rescue the union buildings behind me from the corrupt clutches of those who've plunged our country into hardship, then you must vote for the DA. So, come on, Mr. President, stop cowering away. Call this election, because the DA is ready to fight so that South Africa can win.
Guta,